All right, we are live.
Oh boy.
Ooh, we're live.
Ah! And I
Okay,
just picked a fight with my lamp, apparently.
did your lamp win?
Let's call it a draw.
All right, we're live on Real Talk. So yeah, nothing's really going on, except lots of stuff going on. You guys want to introduce yourself real quick? So sorry, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, I'll go first. Alright. Hi, I'm Cesari. I'm a part of Newbie Leadership. I specifically do all of the meta bullshit that Voltol doesn't want to deal with.
You're also doing some stuff with Albion TV too, right?
Yeah, the Newbie Show. Every Wednesday and Friday until they find another guild that wants to do it.
Oh god, it's getting its own name, the Newbie Show. That's terrifying.
Well, don't we get accused of branding everything newbie? All right,
Yeah.
Exxon, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Exxon Fing. I'm the head diplomat of Brave Newbie. I'm obviously also part of Brave Newbie leadership.
Odell.
Hi, I'm Adele. I'm part of the lower ranks of the Alliance leadership, and I run stuff in the Black Sands for Brave Newbies.
Awesome. Overdose.
I'm mainly here for the hardcore expeditions and the memes, but I'm also part of newbie leadership.
Wow.
And you also did the AOTV show. Come on.
Oh yeah, I forgot that. Yeah, I'm also doing the newbie show on Wednesday and Friday on AOTV.
You know, it's where people know you from. That's totally not the r/Eve shit posting rate.
Yeah. All right.
E-dating and hardcores all day, every day.
Have you shit posted this stream on Reddit yet?
I didn't know.
You should.
You should.
Oh god, I'm doing it currently, but I don't post on Reddit. Like I
Anyways.
can't.
Ooga booga.
Somebody else needs to.
Oh, Canadian Voltel, you mean? I mean Zeffler?
Yes, you do it.
I'm just here, man. Part of leadership, I guess. I help people. Crucify me all you want.
Awesome. So how's everybody doing with the fucking coronavirus bullshit?
Okay?
It was supposed to change our lives?
For me, anyway.
Everybody, nobody ever told me that I already lived the lockdown life for the last 4 years, so I guess not too much difference for me.
I went to the
didn't you-
store recently, and it was definitely different.
I did fight an old lady for toilet paper earlier.
I don't know what it's like in the States, but like all our checkouts here in Britain are like locked down now. They're like little isolation booths, and your food goes on one end and it gets sucked in. And
So I'll put it this way. I live in one of the worst affected states in the U.S. They have severely limited store capacity where I'm at. Severely limited what you're allowed to leave the house and do for. Shit's getting pretty serious around where I live. Where I'm not. Basically, it's on mandatory lockdown order, whatever you want to call it, shelter in place, stay at home, safer at home, whatever the fuck you want to call it, until May 1st. So,
Another 3 weeks nearly.
but yeah, so basically all the grocery stores, because capacity is so limited, like literally most of the stores I go to can let less than 10 people in at a time. So it's just people are lining outside, just waiting for someone to leave so they can go in and do their shopping.
But I thought it was supposed to only happen in socialist hellholes, not in free capitalist societies.
I mean, I get it to an extent. Like, you've gotta stop, flatten the curve, make sure it doesn't overwhelm our healthcare capacity. But I also think the economic damage component needs to not be ignored. This could very well be it's already looking like it's going to be a recession worse than 2008. Different, but worse.
The
It could
numbers
be a
are
lot
already
worse
worse
than
than the Depression. Or they're
But-
right up there with the Depression.
It's a unique circumstance, though. We'll see how fast it springs back and everything, but people are dying and whatnot. So, yeah, I think it's okay to take some precautions, but I think it's also important to watch for power grabs and watch for people overstepping what is right, just because they want a little bit more power or they want to pass certain bills because the nation happens to be in a national crisis. But aside from that,
How's your Albion shit going?
yeah, Albion, I've been busy moving.
How's
as
Albion
most of,
politics going for you?
Well, I mean, as most of Albion knows, Brave Newbie moved. We moved to Martlock. We now have a
Best
hideout
lock.
up.
Martlock, best lock.
Yeah,
Oh,
Martlock.
best luck. Oof.
So I've been busy moving islands and moving infrastructure over to Martlock. That work is mostly tying up loose ends now. So things are going well. It's been a very expensive few weeks, I'll put it that way.
Yup. Moving is not fun on the wallet and on the time schedule.
Yeah, Exxon's wallet just took itself out back. Not really a big
Of
deal though.
itself.
It old yellered itself like a month ago.
Well, when I did that island stream, I had like 60 mil or something like that, and then I went down to like 5 mil. I'm back up to 20 mil now.
Oh, so you've got the Zephyr fluctuations going on.
Well, yeah. I have a lot of assets. I moved a bunch of my shit around that I forgot about. I was like, oh, there's like 10 million of shit. Like I found 5 pest lizards in a hideout I still had access to. I was like, okay, well,
And
God, I lost 5 pest lizards. Have you looked behind the sofa?
yeah, I can't wait until we get a asset browser.
Oh, yes, that would be so good.
I just killed the fucking contracts. Ugh.
Yeah, you and me
Yeah.
both.
Hey, they did say they're coming eventually. They just have no
And-
idea how to do
and-
them without breaking the game.
In the interview that Chosen did with Robin, he did bring up that I had written a nice proposal that he was going to send to him. Knock on some wood.
Yeah.
Well, from
Yeah.
what I heard, a lot of SBI employees actually got sick, so I don't know if it was COVID or what, but yeah. So today we're going to kind of be chill and casual, so if anybody from the audience has any questions or wants to just generally talk shit, feel free.
Yeah, I mean, I hope everyone. We talked about COVID. We didn't really say anything like this, but I hope everyone's okay with it and washing their damn hands and calling their fucking parents and grandparents and shit like that. Like,
And don't touch your
It's-
goddamn face, you
it's
animals.
getting real. Make sure you help. Help each other out. That this is an important time to be kind to one another. But and if you've been personally affected, I am very, very sorry to hear that. And I hope, I hope everyone does their part at least for this little bit, so we can make things manageable.
I just hope everybody has the same problem as I do, and that for me the worst outcome of the pandemic is that everybody fucking plays Albion and I can't gather for shit.
That's not the worst
I
part.
mean, my ping's gone up. I'm not happy about that.
My anime dubs have stopped. That's the worst one that's affected me.
They quit recording Critical Role as well.
I know, and they've delayed.
You did? No!
I've been
Yeah,
playing more D&D than less D&D because now that we can do it remotely, and now that all the groups have been forced to use like Roll20 or whatever the fuck, I've been playing more D&D because it's
I hate
easier to
using
get everyone.
Roll20. No! I don't like
Roll20
I
is a
never
good
figure out
time.
how
Come
it
on.
works.
Roll20's okay, but Fantasy Grounds is better on Steam. If you're
I don't
serious.
even use Fantasy
Yeah.
Grounds.
Tabletop
When I-
Simulator
Yeah, my-
or go
No,
home.
Tabletop Simulator just doesn't work well. Things end badly when you try and D&D through tabletop.
Hold on.
Everyone
speaking
flips the
of
table.
speaking of D&D, and trying to steer this train vaguely in the direction of Albion Online. Does anyone know if there's any like Albion Online D&D modules? Has anyone done any homebrew Albion Online D&D? I should make a forum post about that.
mean-
See if anyone's done that.
everybody would just
I've
fan
been
art the
trying-
Earth Mothers.
I've been
So-
starting on making
Where's
homebrew
Mishireen when we
because
need her?
making.
I'm checking something. It's very
Yeah,
important for
I'll probably
science.
contact Mishireen once I have more stuff in the work.
No, I'm gonna send her a DM right now.
Alright.
We
Can
need
you get us
Albion
in
D&D
contact? Because I
now.
have some nice homebrew ideas. Hey man, I have a shit ton of time on my hands, and I love making homebrew. I could probably whip up an Albion module in like a week to a month. Just give me the time.
So why
what
aren't
you want in
you
it.
DMing a newbie D&D group yet?
Yeah.
I was
Hey,
going
I'm
to send
down.
out a Google form to see who was in because me and Overdose have been workshopping a map that I could use for the past like 2 days now.
Yeah, I think 2 days.
Dude,
Oh,
I'm
so
very
that's what
down.
all that too
If-
big, too small, too far left is. I thought
Yeah.
it was other than.
Hmm.
I mean, if you
Yeah.
can't run it, I'd be down to
And
run it
then
too.
if you've come into our comms and have heard the word no, that desert needs to be a little bit more to the left, that's why.
Yes. I don't think you guys would want to D&D with me. I take my characters a bit too seriously.
Hell,
That sounds fun.
no, it's fine. Me and Overdose had an
I
hour-long conversation about mountain formations.
yes. Yes, we were discussing like that's not realistic. It should not be like that, and about how mountains influence the weather. Did you know that mountains usually have a loove and a lee side? One that's arid and one that's humid, depending on where the sea wind
Moist.
blows from it too.
And the last time I D&D'd as a druid that had been living on his own, so he forgot that he was a human and he was just stuck in bear form all the time.
That's very druid of you. I commend
Yep.
you.
It sounds
He was
like a Circle
very
of the Moon
antisocial.
druid, because at level 20 you just get unlimited wild shapes.
Just
And it's broken.
bear form. Just bear
Yeah.
all day.
The last time I played D&D, I shot somebody with a cannon as an assassination attempt through a portal. But
The
Oh,
last
yes.
time I played, we stormed the good. We got an army of kobolds to storm the good guys' capital castle, and one of my friends got plot hooked by a giant hook. It was great.
oh god,
Wow, we're fucking nerds. All right, so
This is it.
Albion.
Hold on. Before we get off this topic, I asked Mishireen if there was any Albion D&D homebrewer modules, and she said no. So I trust that she
I
has a
guess
better
I'm
grip
making
on
that.
market than I do.
I did a quick search, I couldn't find any.
So if anyone's listening and wants to write some homebrew for Albion D&D, then fucking at me, please. At me
Speaking
anywhere.
of lore and stuff, has anybody actually
Exxon,
read
send me Mishireen's Discord right now.
sorry, what was that, Otto?
Have you actually read the books for Albion? There's apparently some books that have got all
Yes,
the lore
they
written
are.
in them.
Mm-hmm.
I actually do want to get around to reading them. I just don't know
Yeah,
where.
it's good. Like it also explains why our shit breaks, and I always tell that newbies how shit breaking and us surviving it, our deaths work.
See,
PFM.
here's the question though. I can die naked and still get back up. Is
Maybe
there power
because
in
you're
underwear?
yes, your underwear is magic too.
The unbreakable underwear.
Who leaves the underwear?
Why do you think you can change it to so many different things without taking them off and putting them on? Magic.
Just call it magic and move on. Don't question it.
Albion runs on PFM.
Because now whenever I think of magic, I think of that fucking stone that screams the height. It's like
Oh,
that's the
yeah.
most.
Yeah. If you want to know about that, just DM me and I'll tell you what that is. Because I make a fuck ton of homebrew magic items that I never use. And that's one of them. Anyway, we should
We're trying to
probably
listen
talk
to the
about Albion.
Yes. So yeah, we got our own hideout down, which is nice, and are now living out of the Black Zone. And surprisingly, Poe has not yet come and took it down, which I find confusing at best.
They're
Are we
trying.
allowed to talk about the reasons why they can't come over? We'll tell.
I think he's not there. They
He
just
left
have
it
a they just have a deep sitting hatred for us. Let's leave it at that. All right. What else happened this week? Did we miss any new developments or not? Besides us moving to Bridgewatch.
Wait, we're moving to Bridgewatch?
Moving to Martlock, you mean, from Bridgewatch? I not really. We haven't. Like I said, I've been busy moving a bunch of shit over. Luckily, it's only a one city jump, so we did a island stimulus program to help the new bros move. So we covered their move fees. We covered the 10% loss of their stone from any houses. And if I took it as an opportunity of like, hey, people are moving. People are going to need to set up their island, so that's why I kind of did the class at that time. I've been focused on that. Haven't really been doing a whole bunch else, a whole much else out of that, outside of that. So
Apparently, we have a real scandal on our hands because apparently the bacon is a vegan.
What?
And yes,
Somebody get a hold of the bacon. I need
yes, somebody
confirmation.
get. We need
the
confirmation.
bacon
on
is
that.
not a vegan. That's totally a rumor.
Is it
There's
though?
no truth in that. No truth in that at all. No way
But
in
isn't-
hell.
I doubt that.
I'm in their Discord. Okay, so their pings in their alliance are like down with the vegans. These guys are vegans, and that's why they can't win against us. Like how many times? How many times did Fricks feed to them? Like dirty vegans. That's how.
Mhm.
Disclaimer: in the context of the game, I don't actually hate vegans. Please don't at me.
Gonna get a lot of hate, but I don't trust vegans.
I want to
Look,
call bullshit on the
they're-
fact that the bacon is vegan, but it would be hilarious if he was.
They're an alliance called the Bacons. His character is named the Bacon.
He's also
Anybody-
vegan. Plot twist.
Anybody that doesn't like
I mean-
bacon, no, I don't trust you. I'm sorry.
I mean, I love vegans. That means there's more meat for me.
I'm calling fake news on that shit.
I'm calling it real until he comes and proves himself.
We just
Until
have-
and proves us wrong.
We just have to ask him if he has superpowers, and if he has, then we have to give him some like broth, so the vegan police takes them away. If I've learned anything from movies, that's how this works.
Get out of here, Scott Pilgrim.
I also I also posted to Bacon and might or might not. I got a confirmation from.
Hold on. The rumor heats up.
I got a confirmation
Bacon
from
just
Manwy
fucking
here.
confirmed-
I got a confirmation from their military leader.
I might have called.
Oh, no.
fake news a little too early.
Alright.
Bacon posted a message just a minute prior, but Bacon has a room to defend himself. We're asking
He
for
does?
confirmation or denial right now.
Wait, let
This
me
could
switch my
be-
internet first, because I can't. Your guys are cutting out.
Number one post of Reddit news if this is confirmed here.
Oh
And
yeah,
I'll post a screenshot so y'all could use, so you can throw it up on the stream. Or
Let
Voltel,
me-
you can grab a screenshot.
I'm screen capping that now.
Bacon is totally food. It's not friendly.
Yeah, pigs
They're
are just
friends in
fucking
certain
mean.
zones.
Pigs will eat you if you let them.
Yeah,
Never trust a man
So-
with pigs.
We've pressed Bacon about the
Or a woman with
accusation,
lions.
and the only comment we've received from Bacon was that he is not a member of Fricks.
I mean,
someone bring up the Fricks meme from Bacon's. Hold on, Volta, I'll send it over to you. I think the last how many days Fricks has assaulted Bacon's territory in Battleberry
They
Plains?
stopped yesterday, though.
Yeah, they stopped.
yesterday.
I think it took 5 or 6 times for them to come to their senses. Hold on, I need to pull up this image.
5 or 6 times of getting their shit pushed in. Lol. That was hilarious. Well, they lost to Bacon over and over.
Every time someone mentions Fricks, I always remember like the 10-15 page document that outlined their separation from Venus.
Oh yeah, we
I
have the
can't
man
think of
himself
anything
here.
else but that.
hello,
Bacon
bacon.
here?
Like we now need on-air confirmation or denial if you're a vegan or not. Bacon?
Megan?
He said something, I think.
Did, but we were all talking.
Yes. Oh. Apparently Fricks lost 6 times.
Can I get that meme you posted, Bacon?
Everybody gather around. Listen to the bacon.
Whisper, whisper, whisper.
Sure, I need to speak slowly because the spies not here.
Oh, okay.
Shh.
Then
I
you
don't
have to speak slowly.
It was 6 times. Yeah, we had to keep editing the meme because it kept happening. It was something.
Send it to Voltal so we can put it up on stream. Can we get an oink oink in chat for bacon?
George.
I can't
And
find
and somebody is insisting on you telling the truth to us. So Shibani is so.
No, that is just a peasant.
Hey. You got called a peasant by the bacon.
Oh my! That's a throwdown right here. That's a throwdown.
All of them. I don't know. The memes are like buried in the middle of people spamming.
And that's why we have our own meme channel. You should get one too.
I've been trying to find it in your Discord server. It's really, really hard. Plus, you guys actually like delete your like past events in the events channel.
Yeah.
It's so
people
weird.
are people like the humans race is very like dumb by nature, so you have to be as simple as possible so people get the message.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Find even event up and they show up the next day and the event happened yesterday because they don't pay attention to the time span. It happens often. I don't have.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
The tower fights with the freaks. The last like 3 CTAs wasn't even as against the freaks. It's people see that there's a launch here, and then the entire server comes here. So we sometimes we don't even
should
get.
not be visible on the world map.
We don't get to fight them. So we have first was Take Care diving us, and then Take Care couldn't push us back alone, so they called who Alpha Company. So the 2v1s diving each side of the terrain with 2t3 blobs. Freaks wipe it somewhere, I don't even know. But it wasn't against us. The next day was Take Care and Last Warn. And then 2 days ago was Blue Army as well, yeah. Oh, Blue Army got so pissed because wanted to go with their Mega Blob diving the Terry, and I said, nope, I'm not picking that fight. So we went to the tower, dropped all of our gear, and once they dived the Terry, we were all naked. And they got extremely salty on the launch. But I'm I'm like, if you keep giving us handholded type of ZBZs, I'm not gonna be donating gear. And it's like, well, or you give us fair fights, or we're not gonna show. He got salty about that. After Take Care and Last Warren, 2 T3, T4 blobs diving as again. And we still hold for quite a while because we play very well on the defensive on the territory. And they usually don't expect that. Yeah, before Alpha and Take Care was Surf. They came in, get their fun little contents. And then we actually pushed them back, title, because they weren't expecting us to be capable of that.
We're not expecting you to be knowing what you're doing.
Yeah, everyone who went to dive the territory and fought us usually came in after with sweet talks or compliments about how well we defend. Alpha Company did, Last Warren did, Take Care, even though they are always toxic about it anyway. Title did. Yeah.
Pretty much just Final Order who's not showing. Final Order and PoE who are not showing up to your territory.
PoE, no, Sun came. The last time was Sun.
Oh god.
PoE guilds like the Brazilian PoE guilds and Hustlin, Hitmans and Hammer and Sickle, because Hammer and Sickle got the castle, and they came to and it was, we messed up there because we had a miscommunication and the shot caller wasn't even on the territory.
Can we just take a moment to appreciate that he said, I love how PoE didn't show up, and you immediately said, oh, but Sun did.
So I mean,
Oh no,
they
no!
are.
Shut up, Sun did. Mm.
Sun is Poe.
But it
I
was
Yeah,
Sun.
Keep calling them two separate
I
things.
thought I
Yeah.
thought it was pretty funny that you immediately didn't even skip a fucking beat.
They came, but it wasn't. It was led by the Crimson Color, the Flom guy.
Flommer.
Yeah, so that they
makes sense.
didn't have.
I
a
know
name in
Flommer
the station.
still.
Yeah,
He's a cool dude. Like Flommer
I
was.
mean, he's not the
I remember
routine, so
that.
that's good. Yeah, that didn't went well. We once we organized ourselves, we did better. But overall, if we get a fight that is not these mega and holding things coming against us, excluding like guilds like Blue Army, because that's another level. We do hold very well on the defensive.
Well, Becca, how is the lockdown affecting your activity and hostile activity? Because it's almost like the game has got triple the amount of people that it would normally have running around.
Well,
That's got to affect smaller groups like Bacon.
We have more activity as expected. A lot of the activity the game is seeing is newer players, though. Like
segueing into strong independent guilds.
Yeah, sometimes I usually don't like recruiting on the times that the activity peaks, like on weekends, because you usually get the type of players that just play once or twice a week, right? Usually want to, yeah, if you recruit, yeah, if you recruit on the areas that are more low, like the normal weekdays and so on, then you are usually getting people who are more active as follow-up instead of these people that are more like one-timers and don't play again. It's kind of how I tend to do it. The recruitment is not really better. I guess it's just the season. It's close to ending, so then things are kind of stalling.
I don't know about you guys, but we've had a huge uptick in recruitment this month.
Yes, new players, a lot of that is, but we don't really focus our recruitment on the new players, on the ones that are just started the game. We are open to that because we have one guild, and that guild is constantly getting new players, but we are usually trying to get people who already played for a bit, like not weeks, like a week, 2 week of playing. It's overall you get to the point where you already understand the game, and usually we pick those players for the main guild because, as obvious, we need to fight things like ZVZs and all of that, so it forces us to have a minimum of the Zergs that we do, like, or IPs like the Zerg team have got super strict recently, so we can no longer just throw everyone in and do whatever, right?
Yeah,
We are being forced to change our approach, and it's like less new player friendly, but it's necessary or you cannot do anything, so we have to do a balance.
Yeah,
I mean, I totally understand that. I mean, we're kind of on the opposite spectrum where we're happy to take those players, even if they are only going to be around for a few weeks to join a group like that. Because, I mean, those kind of players need support too.
Yeah, and overall we can take like a new player that if a player, and you just started the game and you play the game and and you play for like a week, you are at the point you can prime time ZVZ with us, because you don't need, okay, if you're wearing like DPS builds, of course you will need some spec and or more expensive gear to compensate the spec that usually comes with time. So they usually tell them, okay, you can do healer, you can do utility builds, CC builds, right? Initiators. That's usually how we try to push new players. Like, you can farm your DPS as Morning Stars, not expensive, very useful since the last changes, and so they can actually be useful. And as they level their main specs and so on, then they can become with more big boy DPS and all of that. But yeah, I don't like the way the game is, that keeps forcing it to be so much about the money, about how much spec you have, how much IP you have, how much do you spend on gear. But that's the game we have right now.
Yeah, it is the reality.
Here's a question for you. How do you like the new disarray?
I don't.
It's horrible.
You don't? Do you think it's better or worse than the previous Asura?
So, as the Kunj just was just telling us, we are fighting in the last week or so of CTAs. We're not fighting one Zerg on their buff. We're fighting several Zergs in different tags working together against a single target. So, what does it fix? Nothing. It actually hurts us because we have need to compensate that with more numbers, right? And at the same time, we have the debuff that they don't have to fight them on a sort of equal way, right? I don't like the debuff because it just motivates these groups to handhold in a way that I can counter right now.
Well, I mean, let's be real. Most of the game is hand-holding in one way, shape, or form right now.
Mm-hmm. So overall, okay, if you work with different tags and Zergs into the same fight, and then sure, okay, if they come and hold it, I'm also going to come and hold it. Right now, unholding requires association with one of the mega coalitions, which are pretty much two. And it comes with all the million strings attached. What I don't like about the game right now is you cannot do anything without declaring war in a million different ways to people you never heard about just because they are on this web of unhope. I attack it there. Oh, but if you attack me, you're attacking PoE or you're attacking BA because I'm paying them.
Is there a difference between PoE and Blue Army at this point? I mean, really?
No.
No,
I mean,
really.
the current state of the game is developed as a knee-jerk reaction to the negative responses that they had with the GVGs being the two and the main focus of taking territories. I mean, it was akin to like, okay, this is a big, massive world PvP game, but then we're going to force like a 1v1 game of chess to decide who actually gets the territory. It was a bit weird how it was like a MOBA determines like who actually controls a territory.
Yes.
Now we've gone to the completely other end of the spectrum, and it needs to be reined back a bit. I think there needs to be some kind of metric system, say like a point scoring system during the period of time when a territory is taken, so that other entities that are allied are actually negatively impacting the success rate. So say like there are 3 groups of Arch and 3 groups of PoE in the same zone, they're actually competing against themselves if they bring all 3 groups in.
I've heard that there is something in the works about that. I can't really talk about it, but yeah, there is something that's being hopefully introduced that has that effect. I mean, the reality though is it comes down to it's a big rental empire. I mean, it's the same shit that happened in Eve and other groups, and now we have a big donut of people holding hands all the way around the map.
And the reality of these kinds of games is players will always find a way to game the system. Any system that you put down,
100%.
there'll be a way for them to be number one at, and they will utilize it.
Well, what ends
Well,
up
they have
happening?
to.
What ends up happening in a game like this? Everybody handholds, everybody rents. Then people figure out, oh, all these groups are renting, and then people get pissed off and say, "Fuck the rental overlords." There's an uprising, and it turns into a shit show. I mean, it's the same shit that's happened in every sandbox MMO out there. So.
I'm totally happy that they're bringing Roads of Albion in, or Mists of Albion.
Oh,
I think it's Roads, isn't it? I think it's great,
Roads of
but
Albion.
It's
I
Werewolves.
just I'm just hoping that SBI isn't using it to throw a bone to the people that are
I
unhappy
think
with
it
the
is.
way that the
I think
territory's
it is
working.
a throwback because they look at the general politics of this game. Because you have to.
Let's be real.
map right
SBI
now-
does not understand the politics of this game, and I don't mean that to be disrespectful,
I
but
think
they
they
fucking
might
don't.
even, but what can they do? It's like what this game needs is not an algorithm; it's the human factor because no like mechanic controls the human factor on this game. No mechanic can say, "Oh, why don't we just gonna make a mega coalition that represents 70% of the entire map as is?" And
It's
just
closer to like 80% now.
As
I mean,
a
yes.
certified hull expert, I think what it is the devs. So in Eve, if you look at it, it basically created its own meta, having this wormhole space or this separate space for people to exist. I think having a separate meta for territory control or some sort of dynamic in that system is well needed and good for the game because it's another space that smaller groups can use to grow. I think they looked at how the metas in EVE have evolved, how there's kind of a different meta for low sec players, for high sec players, for null sec, and for wormhole players. And they look at Albion, they see that you have the kind of the high sec, the players who never leave the blue and yellow, you have the faction war players, you have the players who play in the black zone, etc. And they realize, we can have another group of players, another way to engage our players by adding this other system that kind of, in a way, limits group sizes, or at least restricts it, so you can't be shit on by a group 10 times your size, like a lot of people are complaining about. So yeah, it's totally throwing a bone, but I also think it's the dynamic of being able to create another meta within the game. Like the corrupted Hellgates, if they do it right, if they make it so you can't like swap your gear out or whatever.
Like they're from Hell corrupted dungeons.
Well, they have to do it like Abyssals, right? You have a PvE encounter that you have to get through to do the PvP that sets a minimum bar of entry for the build you have to bring. So you can't bring the meaniest shit in the world because you have to be able to do the PvE encounter to be able to get into someone else's rift or whatever the fuck, however the fuck it's going to work.
What I think is that if you're looking at the content they do, for example, when we talk about ZVZ content as the goals of a guild, or the goals of the guild as a whole, they all turn into this place that is the Outlands, and I'll run into this wall that is, this is super, super strict, controlled by politics and by groups that, or you pay me, or you join me, or you are not allowed to be here. Like guilds, when it comes to the progression of guilds, there's no progression on faction ZVZ, right? It's just done for fun, but there's progression on Outlands, and the game doesn't have anything for guilds to progress on if they don't go into the way the Outlands are. And I think the Outlands is all about the fact that groups can have so much, and the game just, it's not the game doesn't allow it, it's the game doesn't make you not want it, because if you can if you can have everything, you can profit so much money and have safety for your members and all of that, so they see that benefit, or we just win the season with the farming of points.
Well, the question you got to ask yourself, I mean, this is the real question that needs to be asked, right, is at what point, silver-wise, is it enough, right? If you have an income of, let's say, 10 bill a day coming in from various sources, like at what point does that just become unassailable wealth? And realistically, assuming there is an RMT going on, right, where's all that silver going? Like, what's the point?
I think wealth as well is like that on every game, independent of where the silver goes to. There's always groups that want to control the money income or the market. I mean, on games like Guild Wars 2, I have our guild. That's when I was more active on the marketplace, because now I don't like numbers. I controlled the whole skin market, which is the most expensive items of that game, because I started playing since the beta. And I invested. It's the same thing I did in Albion. I invested on mounts early on. I bought the rhinos for 5 million. I bought the mammoths for 2 million. And I knew they were going to go up. So I just waited like half a year up to a year, and the prices are insanely multiplied, right? That's always a safe investment in market, and I did that there. And then you pretty much control that aspect. So you have so much gold. And what did I do with all that gold? I flexed the gold. Look, I have a lot of gold. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing with it. I can just have all the shiny things, or just fund my own guild without needing to put the effort the others need to put, or don't need to tax the guild. Because there's several top guilds on this game that keep regearing and give all these tons of money, and they don't have a tax. So those are the guilds where the question is more prominent, as how can they fund all of this if they don't ask the members to for an income. I guess the guilds that do that, some guilds, alliances especially, are obviously stockpiling because it's too much money. and they are
100%.
not keeping anything. If you are taxing your members for millions a week and so on, and you are still owning so much of this map and influence, and have not that many fights a day as well over that, not many losses either. Then
Well, would you
obviously the
be in
money doesn't.
favor of like an activity-based sovereignty system in which deaths, kills, fame farming, gathering directly affects the claim of a territory? So these giant corporations that are rental, like they physically couldn't do what they're doing right now because they wouldn't be able to spread their members thin enough.
I don't like that. You know why? Because our guild ranks high on activity. Like we can get to the top 50 on the season out of our guild challenge activity alone, right? We are level 70 right now. 71, 72.
No, I'm talking about each zone would have its own activity tracked. So if you are active in that one zone that you live in, you will be able to be more active in that one zone than the 50 zones that they're trying to control.
But that determining what?
Sorry?
That will determine what?
Determining who owns the territory.
Ugh.
People could fake that with alts that get killed
And
in that zone by them.
and hideouts. They could also fake it through hideouts. Because you could
Yes.
have
Let's-
6 in the world per guild.
Odell, I know you like Fuzzy Soft. Let's
Having the hideout
Help
on the
you.
zone helps getting the most time on that zone, as we do on plane. It's complicated. I would say the territory launches should be just random. I can kill that wants to go into a ZBZ fight, will just blindly enter a ZBZ fight and be put on a fight with someone. Like arena matchmaking. No,
In my
they
opinion,
don't
you
pick
should
your fights.
only- I don't think this would totally solve the problem, but you should only be able to get points from, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 territories at a time. And you have to designate those territories and make those territories known to everyone else so that people fight over specific territories. And if you want to take out someone's region, you fight over the territories in that region. And maybe there's some sort of
Is it
benefit
really
if you take
the-
that territory.
Is it
Like-
really the points though? Because right now they don't even share alliance or anything. They're just like crystals, extreme point farming, T8
Yeah.
60k point. Like it's like months of the normal normal because the normal towers get raided. It's not about the points. It's about control.
It's about
There's
silver.
nothing.
It's about
The
rental
towers
silver.
don't.
You're right.
Yes,
You're
the
right,
towers
you're
don't
right.
give you
Like I said, I
anything
wouldn't
to
solve the problem.
justify the investment you put on them. Besides the control and the fact the hideouts you have there are safe, or you are taxing them and getting the contribute from them daily, or just the fact you don't want your enemy to have any tower near you, so they don't have any safe spots. That's
the
why
main-
we head hold.
Yeah, but why couldn't they just like declare a zone between each other where they fight over, right? And then have home systems and non-home
I mean,
systems.
One of the ideas floating around on the forums is when you're in the black zone, if they're not in your alliance, you can't see their name or their guild. They're just a hostile health bar.
That
It's
would be
it's possible.
amazing on one hand.
It's
I mean,
possible
ideally,
to prevent same fight coalitions on and on other. I would
Honestly,
say
that's
at
a
least
fucking
when the
brilliant idea.
territory. I know this has a lot of issues with other things, right? But if a territory is entering prime time, which starts 15 minutes before until the attack is pacified or taken on a tower, and during that time, the attacks should be forcefully disabled to prevent or to create a confusion that is large enough that beyond the same alliance, which is while they are bypassing it is by having multiple tags that are not friendly to each other, it will be so confusing. You could have a ganking team ganking one of the entrances to this fight. They have no idea who the fuck you are. I mean, they can run your names, but it's extremely intensive logistics to be able to, during a fight, to be able to deal with all of that. It could add a lot of difficulty for them to keep hand holding fights, at least.
Yeah, but let's be real. I mean, difficulty is only going to slow things down or make things more cloudy. At the end of the day, if people want to do something, they're going to do it.
Yeah.
And there's really
But I
no.
think but I honestly think with no names shown, just like a red health bar, that is a thing that could work.
What if there's a battle mount that casts the effect that does that? Like you could cast it on enemies' ergs just for just so confusion.
Isn't that the behemoth?
No,
Maybe,
there's
no,
nothing
even
about
better.
it.
You
No,
could
no.
you could do it in a zone where a contest is over a territory. That's an effect. Nowhere else. So
Yeah,
it
that's what
only
I just said. Yeah, prime time. 15 minutes
Yes.
before when it starts until it's defended or claimed. Means that during the rest of the entire day on the game, beyond these like periods which are 15 minutes up until pacify, so at tops usually tends to be 20. So it's not a very big impact. There should be no names, no name tags. So everyone that is on the map beyond the same alliance or beyond the same guild will be up for grabs. Like nobody knows who are those gankers at the entrance. They just know they are enemies. Are they this hand-holding guild that we are working with or not? The
But that works
shotcallers
both
should
ways,
be
right?
able to work with the Zergs, right? Yeah, that it should work with the defenders and the attackers. Like the defenders just know they have to defend the territory, and the attackers just know they have to attack the territory. There's enemy is red, right?
Yes, it would still be kind of easy to circumvent that simply by
Capes.
we're not attacking the territory, but we're attacking whoever is attacking the territory. But it would give more room for error. If you can play around that correctly, you can pretty much
I
make
don't
them.
know. The devs can make even things where either the attacks and launches on territories stop being visible publicly, or they stop being visible at all. You just get a notification that someone is attacking you. Who is it? Nobody knows. You just have to be there to defend it. Maybe that would stop unholding because nobody fucking will know who's attacking each other. Maybe.
Indeed,
It
that
would
would
give
be
more room for
perfect
backstab.
for me.
It will add the wild factor, the wild card, the thing that makes things not so predictable and makes you have to prepare for a fight, but you don't know who's attacking, so you just have to be there and fight and get the content, which is what the game is about. And all the hand holding suddenly doesn't work anymore.
But I know a lot of the entities that have fractured their alliances would hate that. Would
Oh,
just
yeah.
hate
I know.
that.
Yeah, they would hate
Well,
that.
maybe it would force. So the devs have posted about on the forums of like they think if the big groups split up enough to the point where like if they make it difficult enough where groups want to split up, they'd consider it a success. If groups consolidate because the mechanics suck and they deal with the consequences, that's also a success. So if they push it to make it just really a huge ass ache to do, then yeah, you'll see some of them consolidate. But the other ones will just say, we'll just coordinate better, and we'll say we're gonna hit here at this time, or this zone, or this area, or this objective, and we won't do anything else unless it's coordinated on the whatever dual or tri-coms you're on at the time. Like to FCs and Eve, like this is no big fucking deal. We're on 2 and 3 and 4 comms simultaneously all the goddamn time. This is nothing to us. And there are plenty
for
of
the big end holders, it doesn't impact them so much. But what I mean is, if we disable you just know you're going to get attacked at that territory at that time, and you prepare for that, but you don't know who it is. It's going to bring a huge boost to the ability of unholding, because unholding usually is always triggered by, well, PoE is attacking me, so the BA and friends are called upon to come defend. But now you don't know, if this happens, that if you're being attacked by a random small guild or by a massive coalition, right? There's so many wild cards there. So it's going to make their life.
I think chaos would be amazing.
Yeah,
like,
I think
we need more chaos in our ZBC.
See, here's so in Eve, when you want to assault someone that's much bigger than you that can win in a one-on-one fight, one of the strategies you can use is you can hit all of their shit simultaneously. Now that right now is very difficult to do in a way that's not telegraphed. In Eve it works because it's not telegraphed and they get as little time as possible to defend. Now, in Albion, if there was some sort of mechanic where you could, say, pay some large fee and make all of the territories and all of the zones vulnerable, then perhaps you would see some smaller groups or some more coordinated efforts go. Even better if you can make them all vulnerable to everyone.
I know, but they could even scale the launches to cost far less on groups that own a lot. But with the handholded split setup, as the debuff, as the alliance territory debuff, it is always bypassable. Which is why I was saying, if the developers have this idea, which is we want to have the difficulty for those who own a lot of territories to be discouraged or have a much harder time defending than what they already do. That's why if you're just talking about, well, nobody knows who exactly is launching on you, the more territories you have, be that handholded in different tags or not, because it's the same groups who defend anyway, they are going to have an insane hard time knowing defending. It's all about information, right? So they're going to first have to give up territories because they don't know where the main fights are going to be. They don't know where the big enemy has launched and where other random guilds. And those smaller random guilds will likely get much higher chances of getting towers because they are just there and they cannot just prepare for them. They just have to gamble it. If you have a lot of territories to defend and you don't know where the big fight is going to be, you will have to split your resources. Or you will have to gamble it.
I just think there is too much information freely available in this game.
Yeah, it's too much information, too much, like you know who's going to attack you at who time, one day before it happens. So I know, okay, I do the CTAs, and okay, this is the target, so this is our prime fight, because you know where the big kills are going to launch upon. This is the prime fight. We're going to put our resources, our CTA, our handholded friends are going to come here, you're going to go there. But without knowing the targets, without knowing who launches, they can't do that. They just have to be, well, we have CTAs, guys, just be around and we'll see what the fuck happens. That's going to have much more interesting politics map, because it's too much information that, like you said, that makes it so easy for big organized groups to be able to be so powerful, because the fact they have too many terries can harm them simply by the fact that they don't know who's there.
Well, I think there's two things. I think one, you should get rid of showing who's attacking what. I think number two, they should open up the API so we can see who's owning what, so we can put together coalition maps so everybody can blatantly see, holy shit, 70-80% of the map is controlled by one group. What the fuck? I think a lot of people would be pissed off if they saw that.
You have a lot of shady coalitions. Nobody confirms it publicly. Sometimes it comes out information, but
it's easy
you don't
to confirm,
have these
though.
guilds saying openly.
Let's be fucking real. Let's be fucking real. Anybody sitting in Limhurst or Bridgewatch is either working with Poe or paying rent. I mean, like, come on.
But you cannot do that officially, though. No, there's no way they can put official information based on speculation. But it's speculation. The developers can never endorse that.
It's not speculation. Anybody with any understanding of politics knows
I know,
a tiny group sitting next to a massive, probably the most powerful Zerg in the game, is not going to be sitting there unless there's a reason, right?
You look at how do you call it, Blue Army and Crimson. Once they had the deal, that was ongoing for weeks, and all we had was rumors that it was happening. Rumors. Nobody confirmed that until it was like, well, now it's clear it's happening.
It was being
because several guild leaders.
I gotta stop you. It was being confirmed for weeks live on Albion TV by their officers. Like, come on.
Mm-hmm.
No, but by the time, like for example, Derek himself was suspecting that there was handholding going on, that was not confirmed. It was just there's something going on here. He didn't know. He just knew that there was a common trend happening with the territory launches that seems to have been arranged. That's about that. Then it became more clear. Then they became calling them out on the stream and on Reddit and all of that stuff. But that's if someone wants to hide handholding, they can do it. They can make it so confusing on information with cross information and all that. Just a mess to figure out who's what. Like I know the BA coalition guilds, some of them didn't know they were handholding. Like until that, when I spoke with him, like yeah, then it became clear because the other leaders came to us and they spoke like and they admitted that was going on, like with Mojo, whatever it was. But they didn't know. They were just told that we're not fighting PoE right now. We're gonna fight, take care of 1941, and that was it. Nobody questioned it until after, a while after, from what I heard. Well, some changes can happen to the game, really, that can benefit. And then he just discussed it too here, like the name tags, the territories can be launches of who. The information can be more hidden on strategic information. The guilds should know they're going to get attacked, but they shouldn't know everything.
Yeah, when with the interview that Robin did with Chosen about the roads, I really hope they obscure those points.
Yeah, the roads is all about randomness, right? About making it not clear, not a clear thing you can pre-plan and organize and adapt to. It's dynamic, it changes. It's not a clear thing, so you cannot take control of.
Well, if it is a
roads.
copy and paste of Eve's wormholes, it has been proven that people can take up and control them.
least
It's just a little
temporarily.
bit more difficult.
Yeah.
No, they confirmed there's no drawbridge mechanic, Odell, like there is in Eve, where you can literally make it basically impenetrable. You might be able to understand. There is no drawbridge. They confirm that they will not collapse by just sending enough people through them, so you won't be able to force one closed.
Yeah,
you can force it to close temporarily, but it will reopen at some point in the future. Until the hole has itself despawns.
So what the point of these roads, as they explain it, is exactly what we were just talking about. It's the information being kept. There's no clear information. It's much more dynamic. It changes. So it balances the game by mere factor that, well, it's like you looking into a Nevalonian dungeon, right? There's no clear map. Oh, you go here, it's here. If I want to go dive 1, I'm going to come here. No, it's not like that. There's a random chance. It might spawn, you might do it, others might find it and scout it. It's much more random, which makes it much more possible. Before random dungeons, we were all getting fucking dived on those stupid static dungeons 24/7. Right, you had to be prepared to get dived in every time you did it. Sometimes you lasted a few minutes. If you get lucky, you lasted a few hours. And now you can do same fight throughout the entire day on T8 dungeons and not get dived. Right, it's the randomness of content that balances the game, and that can be added to the lack of static information that can be added to the end game on territory control. That can likely make it much more interesting for everyone, not just the big ass groups that control everything on this nitpicky way.
But I also thought about something that would be, why not just randomize tiers from day to day? Why not have one zone be a tier 5 zone today, a tier 7 zone tomorrow, tier 6 zone the next day in the black zone? Why not? That would pretty much it would be too fast for people to adapt, right?
Yeah, it's the fact that the content dynamic it changes, so it's not possible to just use information to just take control and manipulate something. So it happens all over games, right? On Albion, it happens. Like it changes. Like it's like I said, static dungeons to random dungeons was a massive change. It's only benefited the game because gankers couldn't be camping the same number of static dungeons, fixed locations 24/7 like they did before. I remember when we would never do dungeons on weekends because, well, it was obvious what was going to happen. We would go do dungeons on weekends if we wanted to get ganked and invite the gankers to fight them back.
I follow that rule to this fucking day. I pretty much on weekends I'm not in the black zone at all.
It's still much more safer, right? It
is.
That's what as before.
Like back in the day, it was not a chance that you would be a dove, but it was pretty much only a question about when or how long, and did you make your gear back by that point, right? But now it's more like, yeah, maybe we get dove, maybe we won't.
Yeah, I remember like the solo dungeons were also static before random on the Outlands, and the members of the guild that had this very specific route to make solos that had a specific time, a specific rotation, so they will reduce the chances of getting ganked and actually don't lose money by doing that content. But the point is always the same. If the information is made not this static that you can pre-plan and adapt to that and then exploit in your favor, the game is by consequence more balanced, and making that randomness on territory control will only benefit the game. There's no downsides to that. It just makes that if you want to own a lot, then you have to risk a lot as well. And if you don't own a lot, if you
Yes.
do, like right now, we own a tower, right? No matter if I don't know my enemy or if I know my enemy, I have to CTA for that tower. And I'm an advantage because I don't have a lot of the reason I don't have to be CTAing forever. So I focus my resources there. I have the advantage as a smaller group or a more casual group. That benefits me. It doesn't benefit them if they have to defend all over the place and they don't know who's attacking. So I think that's a very good idea.
There should be a way pretty much to not to force people apart, but to force people together and take disadvantages because they are together, or to be weaker on their own.
I think the handholded setup can be defeated by less information being given on territory launches. Exactly. They only work right now because they pre-adapt to it. Without knowing the enemies, they don't know who the fuck to handhold with even. It's likely going to mean that there's far more territory launches being made by big and small guilds alike, and they don't know. They have to split the resources. Won't be able to get their massive big ass main zergs with another handholded massive main zerg into the same zone to guarantee a victory. Unless, of course, that victory is a very special, very important objective, but then they have to choose between that and other territories. I think the game needs more launches all over the place, not just by the same people, but by different guilds. So everyone has an interest on having the tower, not just these.
Or Avalonian incursions that attack towers.
Yeah,
Ooh,
invasions.
that would
as
be
well.
fun.
Invasions as well could happen. And if you, I would like, Elgates mobs like that, invasions like that, you get actually killed by the mobs, not just down them, and you have to defend the tower. And maybe how they make that thing for GBGs where the territory borders rise up.
Hmm.
So stuff like that could even happen. Like imagine, especially important territories will get dived more often by PvE invasions, and the mobs start spawn, and only the same friendly alliance can go there defend. Could keep them busy. That would be interesting. If they fail, they lose the tower.
I used to play a game called Conquer Online, which has a guild war every weekend. And I was just thinking how funny it would be to implement the way that they do guild wars over there. When you capture a territory of the guild island, your guild's fund is the health pool for the tower that needs to be taken. So if it gets attacked, you lose money.
You see the also New World, like the upcoming MMO, the one that Amazon is making, is having the same logic. So, but they have random launches on settlements to start a siege on settlements, other guilds. So several guilds can launch, and the system doesn't tell who launches. It just picks one of the random launches to be the one that actually gets instanced into the I think it's 50v50 fight. But in terms of what you were saying, the other mechanic, that's exactly the mechanic they have in your world. Invasions of settlements. It's both PvP and PvE.
So basically, what I'm hearing is drifters from Eve, circa the Blackout era.
I mean, the fundamental problem that I had with Eve is you only really had two choices in Nullsec, which was either leave someone alone or salt the earth. There was no raid mechanic in which you could and essentially, project dominance and get something from it without actually having to, pull them out by the roots. And I fear that that's kind of the direction that Albion's going.
Maybe we could have the like an extreme form of the mage raiding, like that you pretty much could raid a treasury in territory, right?
We want to get to the situation, ideally, where everybody is living in the black zones. You don't want to be in a scenario where you want to force all content out of existence, right? I mean, the majority of people are here because it's a risk-reward PvP game, full loot PvP.
Yeah. Players need to have progression, and royals, blue zones, yellow zones, red zones are not progression. Maybe for crafters and
there is up to tier 6,
traders,
nothing else really.
Yeah, crafters
Early game progression.
that doesn't matter, but for anyone who's gathering, who likes PvP and all of that,
Another problem at the moment.
Yeah, they
It's
want more.
overgathered.
Royals are overcrowded in general, and
Yeah,
the
but
black
even the,
are starting to get filled
even-
too.
even the black zone is overgathered these days. It's super annoying.
I mean, the prices are stable though, which is important.
Yeah,
I'm fine
the
with
prices
the
are
black zone being
the prices are stable because not much more is flowing out of the market than is going in, right? And people are dropping stocks too.
And all of that, it's still like when we're talking about stuff that is being oversupplied, they need to look into that, the balance. I mean, these markets
Rather
are about
undersupplied
PvP.
than anything.
Yeah, if you have prices going too low because too much resources are going in, it means people are not getting ganked enough. Or there's too much resources spawning on non-PvP zones. That's about it. That's what balances the game. Or you might want to make the ones that are more high tier want more low tier resources to get. It either gives more new players more money and it balances the prices. It's economy 101 really. So I already do that. Like the whole refining thing is you need low resources to make the high ones. So the demand is always
It's
there.
a generally good idea.
Yeah. So they just need to balance that.
I honestly think just that focus crafting should not affect the block itself, only the stones, for example. So, for example, if you focus craft, you always consume the block, and you only consume parts of the stone over that.
Yeah,
for example.
economy on these people is easy to balance because they have a system that's already balanced.
That's just like
little tweaks will fix it. Yeah.
Well, also you got to understand that there's also the transmutation mechanic. So if a particular resource gets so expensive or so cheap that it falls under or above the transmutation cost, then some nerd somewhere is going to figure that shit out, and he's going to correct the market and make a fuck ton of money.
And the black market, all of these things balancing the game prices.
Yep. The economy is really smart in how it's set up in terms of price balancing. So it's hard to rock a market so hard for at least long enough until a super nerd or a hyper nerd figures out what you're doing.
Because the game has PvE mechanics that pretty much tell that this price cannot really go that high because there's this, in terms of resources, there's this mechanic here.
There's a GDC talk you can look up. Just search like Albion Online GDC economy. You'll find it. I think Monochrome or Grayscale, whatever the fuck his name is in Albion, did the talk. It's a really good talk.
Yeah, I've seen
that talk. It explains all that.
At PvP games, I don't think there's a game with this much activity and full loot PvP by nature that does economy better than this one. Because there's opportunity. There's so much opportunity for new and developed players to make money.
So
it's opposite.
The only game that gives it a run for its money is Eve. I would say they're both. I wouldn't say one's necessarily better than the other. I think they're different. Eve probably has a more realistic economy just because the locality of it is so much more complex.
It's
than
much
Albion.
bigger world.
There are a lot. Yeah, exactly. There's a lot more space in Eve than there is in Albion, and economies have been locality like that for 15 years, and economies have only been locality like that in Albion, beyond the cities, which is only a smaller portion of it. For a little bit. The other big differentiator between Eve economy and Albion economy is Eve's economy has one central hub. Yes, there are, for the Eve nerds, yes, there are the other main cities hubs, but those hubs are like dying and have been only losing activity to Jeddah for like many years now. So yeah, Eve has one central market. Albion doesn't really have one central market. While Carleon, yes, has more market activity than the others. All the outer cities still get a good chunk. Like
Carlion was
there is a
like
clear
Jeddah until the
majority.
change, so
Yeah, but it's not anymore as far as I know the numbers. So
Yeah.
those are the key differences between the economy. I think Albion's economy balance is a little bit better, but hindsight is 2020. There's a lot of economic history you can look at with Eve. There is not that much economic history that you can look at with Albion. It's not recorded as well as it is in Eve.
Yeah. In terms of all of it, it's pretty stable. That's why the game is on growth. The economy is more players, but it's still stable. Even though the new players, all this influx, is making this low tier stuff exhausting to on the market. But if the developers see that this is too low, they change a number on the game balance.
I mean, let's also look at the numbers. I mean, last time I checked Eve, it was like 35,000 concurrent players. It's been declining in a lot of years. I mean, there's been an uprise at the moment. But Albion Online, according to MMOpopulation.com, is currently at 165,000 peak players a day.
Yeah, that's usually currency of 20,000 concurrent, I think, on current days. Yeah, but either way the number is, it's been growing. So this is not the type of game that gets all these big ass numbers. Eve was a very
niche,
very niche, very exception, because all these major ass titles are all PvE care type of games.
But full loop PvP games
don't get
in history have struggled to get numbers because it is something that scares a lot of gamers.
Albion is no failed game at that.
As someone who has been taking people out into the black zones for the first time, I've seen it firsthand. A lot of new players, they've been playing games like World of Warcraft where they focus months on getting that one bit of item drop in a raid, and it's like, well, gear is now disposable. It's so
it's the difficulty. New players are always with me, and it's why they rage quit so often. It's like, oh, I've been a red zone map, I'm gonna adventure, and then oh god, I lost everything. Then go naked begging the city for silver. And then they rage quit. Like, the game has a very low retention rate because I don't think this game explains very well the risks you're taking, or at how you should start. Like
the documentation,
the meta of the game
is crap, right? Let's just put it out there. I mean, if you go to the wiki, it's all outdated. It's all it's the documentation for this game, and it doesn't help matters because of the type of game that it is. This single shard, games, the players aren't going to be putting out guides because you're then going to be in direct competition with them, right? If there is a way for you to make 20 million silver in an hour, you're not going to post that because then you're going to be in direct competition with everyone you teach.
It exhausts. There's nothing that is self-sustainable. If someone does an amazing method that's, like for the double healer GBG comp, they started it, and then everyone exhausted it until it doesn't work anymore.
There is room for guides, I think, and especially things that aren't market related. Things like here are some meta builds, here are why they're meta.
But I think SBI have really dropped the ball on it. They should be doing more.
The thing is, SBI didn't. I don't think SBI's dropping the ball. It's a platform where players can post content. People are posting content on. I want to, and I purchased a domain to build a website that's basically, like, if you've ever played WoW, the Icy Veins, where I'm hoping to get some people that will maintain guides on, like, Odell, you could write a guide on how to do the arcane tank, and you could keep it maintained as, patches and updates and shit.
That's a proprietary build. That's
whatever. It's an example. I think there's space for it. The issue is there's not many people in the community stepping up to build these kind of websites.
There's not even the incentive to do it.
The guides. Well, yeah, I think if SBI maybe loosened up the restrictions on, like, allowing players to exchange silver for writing articles or bullshit, then that would be good. But
the API is already benefiting the game in terms of like builds, tools like combat looters, Albion stat, but those are all very meta tools, nothing that benefits new players specifically. Then
I mean, they do. No, API tools do, because you can look at websites like Tools for Albion or Albion Assistant or Albion Online 2D. Those all utilize bits of the API.
But they all use for like, how they call it, meta stuff. It's like when you start this game, you don't really want to go check out the marketplaces. You just want to loot and sell. But once you develop, then you want to see, what is all these differences? What are the profit margins? That's usually more what you do after you start the game, after you get used to your.
Yeah, no. I get what you're saying. There's no like concise like here's your start and steps to Albion. The website, current guides on the website aren't cutting it. You think that's fair? A fair assessment?
I think it's only fails on Albion fails in one core thing, and it's not even the market thing, because usually people, it's very realistic. So if you know real life, you kind of know how Albion economy works. It's the fact that this game does not prepare you for PvP when you start. It's you start, and then this game has a very core meta, which is don't risk what you can't afford to lose multiple times over, right? That's the meta. I always tell everyone, new player that joins, you don't get your shiny gear set and go into the PvP zones. It's the opposite. You get a cheap gear set until you can afford to lose more expensive gear, and then you try to even that out as you play to get a profit at the end. Otherwise, that's what makes so many people leave the game, is that they experience PvP, they lose too much, they can't recoup, they leave the game. Right? This game does not prepare you.
Well, I think they haven't helped themselves with the way that things are calculated in this game. I mean, item power and the way that item power affects your abilities, the maths behind it is mind-boggling. And then on top of that, you've got debuffs and you've got buffs from having standings in certain areas, and you've got it's insane actually working out like what is actually going to be good versus X, Y, and Z opponents. And we hand out 4.1 gear to all of our new players, and that's free gear that they can go and. But at the end of the day, even with specs, they're at a massive disadvantage against people with higher IP. I mean, sometimes in the region of like 65% they've got, damage-wise over a like-for-like build of a higher IP. So I mean,
it's very one-sided. It's like when you're
trying to explain ganking to a new player, it's impossible. I mean, it's difficult for an experienced player to kind of work this stuff out without actually going out and testing stuff.
Like when you're doing a solo dungeon and you are an experienced ganker with a meta build comes to you, you're not gonna win. It's that simple. You might get lucky, but they are already prepared for you. You are prepared for PvE. Unless you're playing with a counter-ganking meta, a 1v1 build or so, right? You're not going to win, right? It's very unlikely. Some builds work. That's why some people actually do dungeons and builds that actually fight off gankers. But it's why the game is not made for it.
I mean, even someone that comes from EVE, right? Even someone that comes from EVE Online, if you put together a T2 fit ship and you go up against another T2 fit ship, you know that the margin of difference by skills is only going to be like 10%, 15%, depending on their skills versus yours. Over here, it's a massive difference, right? Between someone who has got high spec and wearing flat 4 or flat 5 and someone who's brand new wearing flat 5. But that isn't explained to new players very well. So most often, most new players feel like they are bad at the game, even if they are wearing like-for-like gear, when that's not the case. It's because the experienced players, the players that have put a lot of time and effort and energy into Fame Farm, have a massive advantage over them.
Yeah, the game is very unlinear on this. Like the first time I died with like 3, I died with 3 million. The first time I died, I lost 3 million, right? On this game, I got ganked. Was because those stupid red circles that auto-flag you for PvP on the red zone do not require the other players to be flagged red to kill you. Well, that's how you learn. But the game doesn't help you in any way. The game is like, well, you did Like the game doesn't tell you like, oh, I faction flag to go fame farm. They told me that I get points and then I get these hearts and stuff. Another way I died before I learned the mechanic. It doesn't matter if you're on the blue map or in a yellow zone map. Now I think there's a warning, but before there wasn't. Fuck.
That brings up 2 points why it's important for groups like for newer player groups to exist. One, the meta advice is get a bunch of sets you can afford to lose, because you have to learn things like that by experience more often than not, or you got to learn by someone else telling you how it works, because it's not really well explained. Second point is it proves that new groups like us are critical to this game's success, and having more groups that accept new players and that help new players and that bridge that gap for them to explain those weird fringe mechanics, like why I can't exit the zone after my pest lizard does its shit from the gankers trying to kill me, that now I died at the gates, or why I can't enter the portal because I have an outlaw timer, or why I can't fucking join this guild because I have a guild join cooldown. Like, there's a bunch of shit that no one tells you about, that there's nothing really on the wiki, that there's nothing really explained anywhere that's easily accessible, that you either have to ask and help and hope to God someone who knows what the fuck they're talking about is paying attention, or pray to God you're in not a potato farm guild that gets spammed out invites as soon as you hit the fucking crosses. So
like the thing, like with the UI, right? It's like if you do expeditions and hardcore expeditions because you are fearful of going out into the red zones and the black zones, right? So you want to like fame farm securely until you know you're right. That's totally fine. But when you're in expeditions, when you get downed, you click a button to respawn, and it's the exact same position that the die button is when you go out into the black zones. So the very first time they get downed by mobs in black zones, more often than not, a new player's going to click that button, not thinking, and they're going to kill
click
themselves.
The die button, yes, because you will get back up. It's the game has very like.
I mean,
one of the things I always do, like,
and they think they're safe. If they do it in a blue or yellow, they got their Gucci gear on.
Yeah, they're gonna die.
Wow. And they hit the die button because they were like, "Oh, I'll just respawn at the spirit
that
healer,"
happens
or
on the city.
And then
they removed that from duels, did they? Before they didn't.
Yes, they do. You get up faster than the timer ticks.
Yeah, but
down.
before it wasn't. I remember people dying trying to turn duels with expensive ass gear. Oh my god!
And it's stuff like that SBI. I mean, it's almost like they haven't done the new player experience themselves.
No, they don't. No, they don't know what all this game feels like. Because if they did, this game would be like the biggest game in the universe just by teaching players how to. The 101 things that are completely messed up on this game. So Bacon started like over a year ago now. We are already 1 year old. It started in February 19. And I think every day was literally spamming all these new players the 101 things. I did that for months and months and months. It's like every new player always doing the same mistakes. Yes. It's always the same. It's like a loop.
You
never
don't need
ends.
to craft an item. You don't need to be able to craft an item to use it. That's two separate.
Yeah. You don't like use learning points trying to learn the gear when you need to be focusing on gathering, which is much more grindy, right? The more high gathering you have, the more money income you will have, right? Like escape builds, you buy things like the die button, of the market works, the ways to do the fame farming, the
don't
ways to
sell
make
directly,
money.
but you put up sell orders, yada yada.
Yes, don't misclick the market buttons to sell something stupid before the buy orders. Look at the little arrow. There's a little arrow that almost nobody knows that shows you the extra information about buy orders and sell orders.
Yeah, I mean that as a player that played in beta and then came back again fairly recently, I still didn't know until like last week that was a thing. That little button that shows you the market history.
I know. I still don't play for a year. They don't know.
What you guys are talking about. I literally don't know what you're talking about, and I'm now running over to the market in Martlock.
You guys don't know about the buy order tab?
No, Overdose is pulling.
No. What are we talking about? Like which
when you click,
one are we talking
when
about?
you click to buy something.
Are we talking about the thing with the red arrow? Or is there something that I'm overlooking?
So when you go to buy something on the market, click the buy button, and so the thing that pops up that says buy, sell orders and stuff, there's a little arrow in the top right hand corner that shows you the market history of that item and how many sell and buy orders are up for it.
And now you know if the price is reasonable or if someone is manipulating the market, which happens really often. Sometimes the average price is actually being manipulated. Like there's been when I sold my crystal vinyl for 50k silver, my mistake.
Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking
It
about.
happens even to me. Like I sold the crystal for 50k silver.
Here's a pro tip though. You can even hover over the graph and see how many are sold in that day or out. So you can go on the 4 week and you can see how much volume is moved. And pro tip, if you're selling, if you're a marketeer, you can maybe judge that you would, on the best circumstances, get between 10 and 30% of that sold volume. And then you know how much shit's going to move.
I mean, I don't like how it doesn't tell you who's put the buy and sell orders up, because that's a really handy thing for alliances to be able to see who's trying to scam people on their hideout markets and stuff.
Yeah, the only thing is when it's sold. When it's sold,
I can tell you,
it has a mail they can look at, but I mean that's clunky too.
It's a Russian PoE guild that's putting out the stupid buy orders. So that's the one I've seen. They do it all over the cities. Like they did one thing. This is when they exploit the market, which is imagine a price of a mount, a crystal mount, a war mount, 50 million silver is its price. So what they did is that they sold intentionally to each other because there was no high buy orders for that item, a rhino for 50k silver to lower the average because there's not enough movement on the market to 50k silver, not 50 million silver. If you sell the item before paying attention to the history, you don't even notice it's not 50k, and you might sell something of 50 million for 50k. That's how it happens. They're very smart. Like a little distraction costs you a lot.
It's actually pretty brilliant.
Speaking of
It
distractions,
is lowering their average.
we got to wrap up here soon. Exxon, you're planning on doing a newer player-friendly show here soon on Albion News, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to plug that real quick?
Well, I haven't figured out much details, but maybe something weekly where we get a guest on and we go take a deep dive on a particular subject in the game. So maybe that's islands, maybe that's laborers, maybe that's gathering, maybe that's ZVZ. So if you got something you're really skilled at, maybe it's fishing. Bohan, I'm looking at you. If you got something it is that you're an expert on, you want to have a chat about it, whether that's a 5-minute chat, a 10-minute chat, a 30-minute chat, or an hour chat, whatever it is, let me know. Send me a DM at ExonFang, EXONFANG, #8337. And yeah, we can get in touch. I'm probably gonna call it the Confluence because I'm making that guide website I plugged earlier. It's albionconfluence.com. I bought the server. I haven't built the website yet, so there's nothing on that URL. But yeah, it's probably gonna be a podcast for that show or for that site, and just to help new players out, to help give them resources for particular subjects, kind of like the Islands and Laborers video I did. So
cool. All right, I think we're about wrapped up. We got some things we got to do. I guess we can open it up to any questions from the audience if they have any questions. Otherwise, we can kind of do shout outs. Bacon, you got a shout out?
I have the usual shout out. Bacon's is recruiting because we need fresh meat to conquer the world.
Did you ever answer whether or not you're a vegan?
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
No, I don't think so.
you're not a vegan. So this is a denial. This is a firm denial.
Sure.
Okay, you got it. You heard it here first, folks.
Breaking news: Bacon is not a vegan.
Like
Bacon is not a vegan.
Vegans are like freaks. I love PoE. Sun, especially Sun.
Strong independent guild.
Strong independent best solo guild. Take care, Team Casualties. Yeah, all of them also vegans. The Bee Alliance, oh my god. So many vegans on this game. I'm
Yeah.
trying to find someone who's not a vegan. Like, no vegan, a vegan guild. Like, I knew newbies kind of trying to pretend they're not, but
No,
Sounds
we're
just-
definitely meat eaters. We definitely do the ribeye. Of course, we're more beef than pork, though.
Just
yeah,
saying,
it's kind of tofu bacon. It's not real.
cooking bacon for grilled cheese right now.
I mean, which guild is not vegan at this game? I'm trying to find. There's none. I actually get whispers of angry people, which are actually Muslims, insulting me randomly. It's because they find the name of my guild is. I'm finding the game of the guild offensive. Like,
I'm
okay.
offended by your guild's name. I need more of it on my
Yes.
sandwich.
Oh,
All
God. It really happened. It's weird. Okay.
So
That's about it.
death to all vegan empires.
So Frick,
Yes.
Okay, so shout outs continue this train because we said we gotta wrap up.
So sorry.
I don't have any shoutouts.
Okay. Exum.
Newbie, Brave Newbie is recruiting. Newbiealliance.com, NEWBY Alliance.com. Yeah, there you go. Look at Chad. There's a link there. Yeah, that's really it. Watch my Island and Labor video. It's a stream VOD, so there's a lot of stream of consciousness, but it's useful info.
Yeah, we'll be syndicating here on Albion News and the
I'll give you a
YouTube
link.
and the website and etc. All right, Odell.
Well, just shout out to the guys in my SIG. You guys know who you are.
What's a SIG? Just for people who aren't familiar with that.
Oh yeah, in newbies we run content separated by special interest groups.
It wasn't sexual. Interesting.
Wasn't.
Okay.
I love how that's what gets Overdose talking.
Of course.
Of course it does.
And of course, sorry if you're somebody who wants to spy, contact Cesari.
Yep, if you've got intel worth giving, Cesari will pay you handsomely.
Actually, you get to
What
keep whatever
money?
you steal.
Yeah, I hear Bacon's pays for intel and nudes.
I only pay for nudes. Intel is
Where's
like,
my payment? I've been sending. You haven't paid.
No, that's just
I-
cool.
thought
hey,
you only
hey
did
now,
it in
hey now.
TikToks.
I gave you 420k silver. You can't discount that.
No.
Do it out of the
420k,
kindness of my heart for
69.
your birthday.
Just giving 420k, 69 silver.
I think I
Drop
threw.
the ball, Exxon.
I think I threw some 69s in there. Let's be real.
All right, Overdose.
I want to shout out to Chosen, who still bears with me and Sari every 2 days during the week. And please, Bacon, take over one day from us.
Please.
You're talking
Oh, the
with
love
me,
of
but
God.
I'm like, it's mostly annoying politics stuff makes me waste my time every 5 minutes.
Well, there's no politics in that show. It's just helping new players out.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, I wanted to cut. It's because you guys do it so weirdly. I'm not sure. You guys are from NA and are doing shows on like 15 UTC.
Well, just set your alarm. Like everything's shut down. Come on, you ain't got nothing better to do.
Everyone's
Victims
in A
of
during
our
the
own
pandemic.
success again.
I
Also,
just wanted to
next
keep guys
week.
online at the same time.
Also, next week on the show, we'll answer 2 important questions. First of all, is Newbie gonna do something? And second of all, is Xuan gonna learn English or not?
It's one on top.
I don't know. Whatever, however you pronounce his name.
It's Juan. It's how you say it in Spanish.
I-
Spanish
Yeah,
is
that's
a
probably
hard
correct.
pronunciation to J's.
I thought it was Schwan. That's how I would pronounce it in German, so I'm gonna do it.
That's elitist as fuck.
Nate T, we're
What'd
just
you
wrapping
say?
up. We're
What'd you
doing our
say?
last shout
What'd
outs,
you say?
but we're like
say
absolutely
period?
goddamn horrible at keeping on.
Overdose.
Like,
What,
we
what
are
do you
absolutely
have?
horrible.
Oh, guys, overdose. What do you got? You got like 3 seconds. Go.
I don't know. Shout out to all my hardcore expedition guys.
Hey.
Hardcore gang.
Just purge all the hardcore expedition guys.
All right,
already.
Zephyr.
Oh, just shout out to Newbie and everybody playing this game. Keep safe, kill people, go get.
Oh, and by all means, stay healthy, please.
Wash your damn hands.
Now that we've gone over washing our hands, next is colors. Stay tuned.
They can't wash their hands from
Yeah,
all
we
the
have
filthy
a
hand
hideout one. It's in Brim. Anyways.
Brave Moon Brim, like it's public knowledge that we have a hideout at this point.
Yeah, like where have you been? Just told you one.
I mean, Brim is also.
I'm literally in it right now with one of my characters.
We
Yeah, there
didn't
we
launch
go,
on
right
404, did we? No.
It's on stream.
Hey, look, Mom on TV.
Ooh. Oh no, I can't see what's over there. There you go. Fuck.
That's laggy.
Anyways, alright guys. Shout out to Juan for being
Himself.
Biggest fan.
yes. He's our biggest fan.
Hey, look, it gets the message count up for the stream stats.
Absolutely, dude. Keep talking shit. You be you.
I guess.
I guess.
Alright, we have an alliance meeting to attend to. All spies are invited.
Yes, Juan,
I
if you
mean-
want to bring a spy over and listen to the alliance meeting, please do. Alright guys.
Yeah.
Why don't we just stream it?
We'll do it
Like
live.
remember
We
the
wanted
Arch
to take
meeting?
at least some effort, right?
Someone was streaming.
Aren't we recording this anyway?
Alright guys. I have no idea what some of these people are talking about.
Alright, are we good? We haven't launched on a territory or anything.
We haven't
in a
launched
while.
on there, or that was just as our revenge for what happened like 2 months ago.
I wonder if John's a power top.
It was a one-time thing.
Alright, are we good? We wrapping up?
Yep. Alright guys, stay safe, stay healthy. If you want some content, come over to Martlock. We love fighting, so cheers.